in cash. But
what happened to the money?
It wasn't his money. It was given.
No, I understand, but it was a check to cash.
Michael cashed the check.
Why is it happening?
If Michael Jackson wants $1 million in cash, guess what? Michael Jackson can have $1 million in cash. Why does the world have to question why this man wants $1 million in cash?
Because he has been indicted on felony charges.
This is before. This is before.
You know darn well, Mr. Prosecutor, you were once upon a time that if you want to try and argue, you want to try and argue interest, you're going to say, wait a minute, these guys have all been paid off. It's an argument.
Yes, no, I understand that, but I got to tell you, I read the summation. That was not an argument. The prosecution carried in summation. They sort of abandoned that argument. That was what we heard was an act. That was not an argument that they pursued in this summation at all. Why? Because there's loose strings all over the place. There's no evidence that Frank Tyson got and kept that money as a payoff. There's no evidence because I think they know that that was given to Michael in cash for Michael to have his spending money. Look, there's some things that we cannot. Yeah, I know, but I don't have a merry-go-round in my backyard either, or a Ferris wheel or whatever else everyone has in Neverland. You know. Yeah. But at the same time, why does this man have to justify?
For those reasons.
Well, for the reasons Catherine said, I understand the question. I do, Catherine. It's a fine question, but it wasn't even one that was carried by the prosecution in summation. They abandoned it. So it's all these little things that we heard about that never came to fruition.
Did the DA ever come to you and try to make a deal? Try to get you to talk to him? Did you ever talk to him?
That would be my question because.
Well, then I'm not going to ask you. Go ahead. Did the DA ever come?
We offered our testimony with the same protections everyone else would get going into a grand jury, which is called immunity, right? We were not given immunity. We were offered a limited immunity, which is basically what they call a use immunity for that particular proceeding, that grand jury proceeding, which did us no good because at that point, there was no question in my mind Thompson and his prosecutors were going to believe that the mother was not being truthful. I believe that they married that horse and they were going to ride it. And quite frankly, having my guy go in there and give a sneak preview of our defense, which quite frankly we never had to roll out.
And you're right, that's what they wanted to see.
Right.
Any other, and this one's for Frank, any other 45, don't you be whispering, 45-year-old male facing these charges? No, we're facing these charges.
I'm 39, first of all.
Oh, I know you're just a baby. Frankly, you'd expect a conviction, wouldn't you?
Would I expect a conviction? No, it's very difficult because nobody knows this.
No, I understand. I'm saying, Michael, and you're right. He is on another planet. He's in another world. But if it was the average 45-year-old up the street, given these circumstances, would you think a jury was going to convict? How do you distinguish the average person in the world? How could you judge anybody in this world for their actions? Have you lived their life and experienced it? No. And I'm not saying, excuse me. No, and honestly, that's a tough question for him to answer, even if he's trying, and I wanted to try. It's a tough question because you know why? Because I think most of the people from Jesse Jackson on down going,
there's no other 39 or 45-year-old people who have that lifestyle.
That's why I'm asking you. Set aside the eccentric character.
There was someone who didn't give multi-millions and billions of dollars to children and live his life as if he were still a 13-year-old and had a regressed 13-year-old, maybe an issue going on in his head and all that stuff. If it was just a 45-year-old banker who came home, of course. But that's not what you have here. Right. He's not on trial for being weird, being different, being maybe, retarded as far as, not in the sense of retarded, but being retarded in age or regressed. Yeah. He's not on trial for that. We have to keep our eye on that ball.
Okay, one final question. I understand he's already contacted you. Get on a plane, come back. Do you intend to be back at Neverland with Michael the time the verdict's brought in?
Hey, we're going to see what happens, and we'll probably discuss it after this. But I want to let you know that this man is a human being. He has a family. He has a mother going in and out of this courtroom every single day, 75-year-old mother. Do you think it's hard for the family?
Of course it is.
I just wish the media would, put maybe for a little bit, try to put themselves in Michael Jackson's shoes and the family's shoes. I have my mother crying every night. I go to her and she's sad by this, first of all, on how they're perceiving me. How they're perceiving a man that we've known for over 20 years who's definitely eccentric and different. But he's not a pedophile. And not excusing him for his faults, because he has a lot of faults. And there's a lot of things that I disagree with him on. But I wouldn't be here at 24 years old, who everyone's told me, stay out of this, Frank. You're young. You have a bright future ahead of you. You are already moving on, working on a lot of interesting projects. And I wouldn't be here if I thought that man was a pedophile.
Okay, well, final thoughts. Any members of families, just like the Peterson case, the poor Petersons, Lee and Jackie, it hurts everybody. Charges alone, guilty or innocent, People are devastated by this all the time. But final word, Michael's very lucky to have you. All right, from Tyson, Joe Tacopina. Much appreciated, gentlemen. Now, coming up next, we're going to go back to Santa Maria.